All right. So the big call out I'll make in regards to reports is I know we talked about dashboards and the sense of the specific role. If I were to do the same thing and click on just the reports over the reports center tab here, or even reports overview, it's going to bring me to a reports dashboard to illustrate how many variations or how many different reports come out of the box. Here is everything that is populating and present day one of a new instance, right? If I expand all this, you can see there are a fair amount of reports: financial, sales, payables, order management, inventory. There are a whole bunch of different reports that can be leveraged that from that point, if there's still things that need to be customized, you could see how quickly we could go in there and just customize a report. It's relatively easy, but there are a whole lot here. One of the ones that I actually enjoy reviewing or talking through is this budget versus actual. And where this plays into it is when people are running budgets. If you want to run a budget and you want to import it, the system can handle budgets and it has the flexibility around how you could create budgets. But once the budgets are in here, you can then see, hey, this is what my current period amount is, what my budget amount, and where are we in comparison? And it gives you a really clean representation of where you are compared to the budget that you set out. And that's a powerful tool in a lot of situations, a lot of scenarios that some of the systems that we've seen that I've worked with in the past have some flexibility. But I think this is where NetSuite does have a very positive, I wouldn't say upper hand, but positive approach to the budget versus actual. Now, this budget column is not populated out of the air. It has to be done by someone, right? So if I come in here and I go into the controller role, I'm going to flip over from my CFO to my controller. And this is where permissions play in, because this controller in this environment wouldn't naturally be able to create budgets. But in the controller role, I could come in here and under my financial center tab, under lists, I could come over here to set up budgets. And you're going to see there's a couple options here on the right. I have a list option, which will show me all the budgets that are created. I have a search that allows me to search for budgets, and then I have an import. So if a lot of scenarios where clients we onboard are looking to do budgets, they are managing it outside of another system or managing in Excel. And the benefit to this is that you can import that right into the system based on a little bit of mapping and a little configuration to get it all formatted, get it in the system, and take whatever they had in their Excel document and translate it right into the system for them. But if they're starting fresh, new client, hey, we've never done budgets, we've never had the need to, but now we do, and we want to start using it. If I go in here to set up budgets, you could create budgets for various different scenarios. So in this one, I could go by subsidiary. So if they have multiple subsidiaries, I could go in here and say, I want to do it for this specific subsidiary for this specific fiscal year. And then I can narrow it down even further and say, but I want to do this budget for a specific customer or a specific class or location. And you can narrow it down even further and identify how you want that to be presented. Do you want to do a budget just based on income for, maybe you're doing it for a location, or maybe you're doing it for a client. You want to forecast out or budget out how much you're expecting from a specific customer, or you want to do a true P&L and be able to identify the income and expenses across the board for a specific location, and coming down here and then dictate which ones you want to populate. Where the import becomes powerful is it allows you to hit all these in an import file. You could go in there, you could work your magic in the import file and then import it in instead of having to manually populate. But if a client comes or someone comes in here and says, hey, I want to go in and I want to do this manually, I could come in and say, you know what? I know over the course of the year, I want to forecast $60,000 for shipping and handling sales. I go in here, I check this box, and I don't want it all to hit in January because that's not realistic unless you don't plan on getting any other of that revenue across the board. I could go in here and I could do two things. Based on the selection, I could either distribute it and take that amount, the $60,000, and break it out by the 12 months, or I could come in and I could say, you know what? I'm projecting $60,000 each month for that specific one. I could go in and click fill, and it'll fill that column across. So you don't have to worry about going one by one. The other benefit to the environment is that once you get your budgets established, you could copy budgets and then add incremental increases. So we go in here and we say, you know what, we want to copy a budget from a previous year, and I want it for my total projection for budget, we know that it's going to increase by 5%. I want to put 5% in here and increase that budget. It's going to take the budget that was created, add 5% to all of that, and then create the budget automatically for you instead of you having to go in there and manually populate it every single time. So a lot of flexibility when it comes to budgets, which then translate back to that actual versus budget report that we were looking at a minute ago. I'm going to leave this as another stopping point before we dive into some of the back-end accounting processes.